Alright, guys, since technology is not our friend today, we decided to get creative, and we are going to be coming to you from my living room. I'm recording us doing a messenger call, so she is live right here on the phone, and I am right here too, and we are going to do the things. So, Olivia, how many years would you say were you in, like, active addiction?
Oh, girl. Well, like, active addiction. Okay, so that's hard for me because I started drinking at 13.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the substance replaced as I got older. I never realized it was an addiction, but it was every weekend. Like, and then it got to the point, like, my senior year, if I would have missed one more day, I would have not have been able to walk across the stage simply because I didn't show up. I didn't even have to show up but for 3 credits my senior year because I was so far advanced. I was showing up and sleeping. And so I was bored and I started just derailing. But so I would say I have been struggling since 13, but like true active addiction, like I had to have it every day. This is what had to happen before my day got started, or this is what like my day was getting to this. Like no matter what come, I had to get this before I could do anything else. That started probably about 25. And I didn't realize what I was doing was wrong because you could buy it at a gas station or a smoke shop. And my husband was in the military and he could pass drug tests doing it. I could take drug tests for DHR and pass them and still be blitzed out of my head.
Yep.
And
for me, I would say, and I can't speak for anyone else's journey, but I know for me that when I think about active addiction, I think about the fact that I look at it in 2 pieces. Like, I was an addict before I knew it because I was always looking for something that could fix me because I thought I was broken. The world didn't understand me. I could be in a room full of people and be like, everyone's here talking about me. No one here likes me. And I would feel alone. And when I discovered alcohol was my entrance into the world as well, you know, when I discovered partying in college and things, I felt I felt accepted. And I knew all these other people that drank on weekends and then turned it right off Monday through Friday, could, you know, go to work, go to school. Not me. I was like, where's the next one? Where's the next party? I like this feeling. But
yes, absolutely.
And I think a lot of people in addiction I always laugh when I hear people say addiction is a choice. Because it is, in the sense that we have to make it available to ourselves or be in the presence of someone who makes it available to us. But at least for me, and it might be the same for you, for me it was like you said earlier, it was available. Technically it's legal. You can buy it in the stores. No one's looking at you funny when you purchase it necessarily. But also just that, like, if you feel normal and you feel okay and you can function, well, everyone else is drinking or doing this or doing that, and they can stop and they can go to work, so it's not going to happen to me. I knew there were genetic markers, but I still did make a choice to try it on and see. But I knew I was hooked and I wanted to stop years before I did. And it wasn't because I was like, I'm going to prove them wrong and I'm going to be the only successful addict out there. Like, I was just like, I don't know how to get out of this. Along the way, I found coping mechanisms that have made my recovered life better. Like, I used to run my mouth to get what I needed, but now I know that this was a gift given to me by my God, and I just was misusing it. but I can use it for good now. And in recovery, it's freeing to know that there is a, what do they say in the movies, a redemption arc for my character, that I, went from I could sell ice to an Eskimo, and not even think twice about whether or not I brought value back in the day, because to me it was about survival more than anything. And now it's like I want everyone to succeed, and my ability to get people to understand where I'm coming from, and for them to understand that I see them too, no matter what they're going through. I learned that by being on the street, being homeless, being drug addicted, where everyone would walk past me, except for people that were in similar situations to myself. Have you found that in addiction and in recovery that there's a lot of tools that you used to think were bad, but now actually keep your life and your motivation going?
Can you give me an example of what?
Well, for example, like this live. The old me, I would have just been throwing a fit, throwing a tantrum, and now it's like, how important is it? Or things that are hard, most people give up, but I'm like, I've overcome worse than this, so let's go.
Yes.
That's kind of what I mean.
So, I guess my coping mechanisms is to not react, is to take a breath and think, and if I'm to the point, my first reaction is to go to the good Lord and Savior. But some days I'm weak in my flesh, and I start to get into that, and then I ramp myself up so easily over something so small, and then I have to step back, and I'm like, no, Lord, stop me. That was me feeding into my flesh. I don't care where I'm at. If I'm in front of people, not in front of people, whatever. Dear Lord, I might not say it loud, but I stop, and I recognize that I was feeding to my fleshly person, and please help me deal with this in a more godly way. But I want to go back, because you said that addiction is a choice. I don't think necessarily addiction itself is a choice. The choice we have is how we deal with it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we are wired, we have addiction in our families, and before us, after us, and it really doesn't come from raising or anything like that. It is, I do believe, generation. It's a trait. It is a trait passed down.
Absolutely.
A lot of that has to do with it, because I was that person when I was growing up. I lived active addiction my whole life, but it wasn't me.
Right.
It was surrounding. So church was my safe haven. And then I was that child that I was not going to be that. I was the first person in my whole family to graduate. I was married before I had kids. I didn't do nothing until after when my first marriage started falling apart. I buried my first child, and then I had another child. And at that point I realized that the marriage just wasn't what was meant for me. It was a lot of traumatic stuff packed all in one, and then you have a child. It was just crazy. But what I did learn through all of my trials and errors, sober, not sober, living with money, living low in the gutters, borrowing power on an extension cord, is the
I've been there. Yeah, that was a true yes.
Will give more than someone who has an overabundance, because they know what it's like to go without. They
Absolutely.
know what it's like to feel alone. And that is my goal in life. I don't care if it's the first time you've seen me on a live or on a post. If you're feeling alone and like you don't matter in life, please come to me and be like, hey, can I get some of that positive inspiration? Or you don't have to tell me nothing about your story other than you're going through it and you need something to lift you up. Because if I would have had that one genuine person,
yeah,
that would have made a difference. But what I also realized in all of that is I was a victim of my own circumstances. I kept recreating my messes and blaming it on everybody else. It didn't matter. Every like 5 to 10 year circle, it was a new guy with the same problems. And so I'm going to leave you and find somebody else that's going to treat me better. But I wasn't treating me better.
Right.
I wasn't loving me. So I wasn't demanding the respect that I deserved from the very beginning. And had I known that as a 13-year-old girl who was getting drunk with 20-something-year-old men, the amount of respect you demand as a woman is the amount of respect you're going to receive.
That's right.
And if you have low standards in the beginning, you're never going to get treated like that queen you want to be treated like. So you can't go in with less than and expect to build on it.
Right.
I had to build me. I had to learn who I was and what my what my worth was. And now, baby, I get you. I'm that soft girl. If I look over, hey, baby, and as much as he hates it, he's going to do what I ask. I mean, I have that, and I don't try to take full advantage of it, but it's hard sometimes, you know.
Well, see, in my house, it's very much the same, and you're right. When you said you're right, because I dated lots of people, but there was all the same person with just different looks and a different story that I thought I wanted to be a rehab center for all these men. And honestly, a lot of these men weren't bad guys. They were struggling as much as I was. And two broken people that have no intention of fixing themselves are never going to make a go of it, even if they want to, even if they have the urge to. And one thing in recovery, like you touched on, like, that reminded me that I was resentful in the beginning that I was now addicted, because I knew people that drank more than I did, gosh darn it, in college. I knew people that did way heavier stuff than me. They could still get up, go to classes, fulfill their responsibilities. They could wait till the weekend. Why not me? And so I kept trying to prove that I didn't need it. And then one day I remember, this isn't what made me stop, but one day I remember going, girl, you are an addict because you structure your day around your use, not the other way around. Like,
exactly.
No, can't make plans with you because I'm busy, and that busy was going to the bar, going to, the drug dealer's house, or waiting for them, to take all day to bring me what I needed. You
was never really busy, but you always had something to do.
That's right.
Yes.
And I would use to celebrate. I would use because I was sad, angry,
everything.
Whatever. Anything. Everything was an excuse.
My toe, I need some.
Yeah, it was just, But for me, one thing I don't think I actually needed as much validation as I thought I did. Like you, I was from that family where, like, I was, I graduated, I was going to college, like, that was non-negotiable. I got into the first college I applied for. Up to that point, me and all my friends were squares. We never, we were in drama club and 4-H, and, like, no one snuck into their, parents' liquor cabinets or anything like that. Me and my friends just never were like that. And for some reason, when I went to college, I'm like, I can remake myself here. Well, I did. And then I kept trying to move around. Like, if I live somewhere else, this will change. Except, no
matter where you go,
there you are. You take you with you.
There you are. No matter where you go, there you are. Yes.
We take ourselves whether we want to or not. We take ourselves with us every time. And oh my God, we have no business doing that. Because we ourselves are fighters. That's why we've come through this, and not everyone is so strong. But there's also something to be said. Like, I know for me, my spite and my stubbornness led the way in the early stages of my recovery. Like, people said, "You're not going to make it." I said,
Yes, you can.
"Oh,
You're
yeah?
Relapse. No, let me show
Let me
you
show you
this is
how
gonna go."
wrong you are." And when I think about, whether addiction's a choice, the reason I know it's not, other than the fact that it's listed as, a disease in the DSM-5 for, substance use disorder, is also the fact that most people I know that have been in active addiction did it because there were other underlying conditions, mental issues, or PTSD from, family trauma or whatever, that were self-medicating, or someone has a surgery or has an accident and they are taking as prescribed medications. That's not a choice. You deserve, they don't ask. Doctors don't say, "Hey, do you have addiction in your family?" Some of them do, but mostly they don't. And so if you're taking an opiate for, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, guess what? Even healthy, non-addictive personalities can get hooked on an opioid after 2 weeks.
Yes, and that is the worst sickness ever.
Oh, the come down, yes.
I was pill sick one time in my life, and I said never again. But I want to touch on what you just said, how they go to a doctor. Okay, so after my spout during the Spice rendition, I went to a doctor because I was so fed up with life. Like, I could not say I was working a full-time job. I was going to college online. I was pretty much a single mom because my fiance was in Iraq. I was living with his parents, and I was just stretched so far thin. But I went to the doctor because I could not stay on task. It was like